Related to this notion of the four elemental building blocks, again, earth, water, air, and fire, is table number 2, the concept that the world that we experience, that the universe entire, can be divided in 4 strata or categories. And again, moving from the lowest to the upward, domem, the inanimate, someach, vegetative, chai, animal life, and medaber, the one who speaks, the human being. And I'd like to suggest that understanding some basic ideas about these 2 sets of 4, about how our psyches can be understood through these, can change the way we relate to everyone and anyone. Let's begin with looking at the 4 strata or levels of creation. Clearly, there is an ascending hierarchy here, with the inanimate being the most lowly and man as the pinnacle of creation. A stone can simply be. A plant can grow. An animal can move, feed, fend for itself and its young, and even communicate. Only man has the endless capacity to generate language. Only man has a self and a higher consciousness. Only man can make moral decisions. But there is a startling and sobering side to this hierarchy. Quite counterintuitively, we find that the higher you ascend on the ladder of existence, the greater the level of neediness and dependence. Okay? So very, very simple. A rock, for instance, needs no one and nothing. It has no needs when it's young. It has no needs in its golden years. It can never go through a midlife crisis. It doesn't need you. Vegetation needs soil and rain. Animal needs are more complex. They include shelter and food and safety for itself and its young, the need to propagate. And the human, well, our needs can only be termed endless. Even those of us who consider ourselves very low maintenance, start making a list of what you need. Now, here's a question for you to consider. Are we needier because we are more capable, or are we more capable because we are more needy? Think about this for a little bit. Does neediness bring to capability, or does the fact that you have greater capability need or bring in its pursuit greater dependence and need? It turns out that we're more capable because we are needier. Plants can remain stationary because essentially all they need is the earth and water. And those that need the sun, you'll note, will move and grow in the direction of the sunlight. Animals, they need to find nourishment and shelter and so on and so forth. They need to move beyond the bit of earth they were born on. Unlike vegetation, they do not have the luxury of remaining stationary. Life forces them to move and utilize the various aspects of their God-created bodies, which is absolutely fascinating. I don't know about you, but I love to watch those shows where you learn about every part of an animal's body, and it's an endless source of fascination to me. But they need to affect the ends towards their survival. Now, the human being has all the needs of an animal, plus the most difficult of all needs to meet, the needs of a self-conscious being equipped with a moral compass, or at least bothered by the knowledge that there ought to be one in their life. The human being needs validation, recognition. We yearn for approval, love, consummate union. We have a need to make a mark. We have a need to accomplish, to contribute. We have a yen to expand our horizons, to integrate the new into our experience. We're always seeking the more. We're always looking to discover a new world, to rise above ourselves, to take it, whatever the it is at any given time, and bring that to the next level, to kick it up a notch. We're not satisfied to know where we are. We want to know where we're going and where we came from. In other words, we have a desperate need for relationships. And that's what makes human life so deliciously deep and so exasperatingly complex. We're forced by our distinctive needs to move in our lives beyond the level of the inanimate, the vegetative, and the basic and brute animal instincts we know ourselves to have. So again, our need brings to our capabilities. And just to concretize this, and I'm not going to belabor this, this will take one moment for us to figure out. Our math skills today, with the advent of calculators and then everything else that came after that, are arguably much, much weaker than those of people that came before us. Our memories, vast amount of our memory goes unused. Older people of a different generation used to be able to store thousands of telephone numbers in their minds. Who even remembers their own telephone number today? Everybody's on speed dial to themselves. Research. Who even knows what that means in this post-Google generation? Who even remembers that term? Who would actually even know how to do that? We do in response to a need. But here's the most interesting thing about us that we need to remember and consider. Irrespective of our wondrous capabilities as human beings, essentially, our tradition teaches we just want to be left alone. Yes, you heard me correctly. We actually want to be inanimate. We just want to be. But life catapults us into movement. We have to move. We have to shake. We must leave our homes. We must wander the earth to collect, to shape, to harness its energies in our service. We must learn to relate to others and work with them. We have no choice. We can't survive otherwise. Now, if life is good to us, we enjoy these overtures. We enjoy going forth. We enjoy the challenge. We enjoy the new and interesting experiences. We enjoy exploring our world. We enjoy the retreat. But as Yogi Berra once said, the best parts of the trip are leaving and especially coming home. Why is coming home so wonderful? I don't know about you, but I could tell you I'm sleeping in a far more luxurious bed here than I have at home. I definitely don't have anyone preparing the plethora of foods on a constant basis for me at home. And the scintillating array of presentations, I don't have that at home. But I know I'm going to be glad to get home. Because only in our home, only in our inanimate space, look at the list, only in the domain of our lives are there no external demands made on us. This is where we don't have to prove ourselves. We don't have to perform. We don't have to gauge reactions. We don't have to adjust our approach. I don't have to massage egos. I can just be. This is another way of understanding the old expression of letting down your hair, kicking off your heels, not having to worry about flatulence. That's it. You're home. This is also the most profound understanding of the Talmudic adage, Beito zu ishto. One's home is one's wife, or more broadly, one's spouse. Your home is where your spouse is, because your spouse, similarly to the inanimate walls of your home, is not a person you have to impress. It's not a person you have to entertain. This is not a person you have to woo or wow. Your spouse accepts you just the way you are, especially when you're trying to be better. But you're not, and I want to clarify what I'm saying here. This does not mean that you're not constantly looking to do for your spouse. Of course you are. But that's different than looking to impress them. When you forget about what you're trying to get for yourself, like their good impression of you, and you focus on them, that's when you will impress your spouse. But with your spouse, you're not thinking, how am I doing? How are we doing here? Because your domim, your inanimate essential aspect, can just connect to theirs.
If you like that video, hit the subscribe button and notification bell below for hours of the best Jewish content online.